The other thing is that when you eat raw food, because everything is so bioavailable for your body, you end up eating less. And it's much healthier to eat less calories. There's a whole school of thought out there about calorie restriction, that it extends your life. And so this starts to move toward that direction. A lot of the times, the cravings that we have when we eat cooked food is because our body is looking for those nutrients and it's not getting it from the cooked food. So it sets you up to crave more and more and more. And you'll see, like the snacks that I brought. Hey, you guys have to start eating some of those things. If you eat, one or two of those little pieces of brownie, you're done. You don't need any more chocolate. You don't need any more nourishment. You're actually that's near medicinal to eat that, because it's all living, live, healthy stuff for you. And your body feels that, and then it says, I'm full. So it helps a lot if people have issues with overeating. And of course, the environmental impact, because we're not processing all these things. So what happens when food is used? So basically, I just went over that. But a couple other things is that the water content is lost. A really important thing for good health is to stay hydrated. And if you're eating raw foods, they're full of water. So you end up actually needing to drink less water. But you want to make sure that you're, that you still stay well hydrated. And also, when you heat food, it creates a lot of free radicals. You lose oxygen, and free radicals are created, and that creates instability. And also, cooked food can create an acidic condition in the body. Diseases, and I think most, I don't want to say all, but I'd say most diseases thrive in an acidic condition. And I think because of the way most people eat, they have an acidic condition in their body. And so if you incorporate more live foods, then you can start to move more toward an alkaline. And I have heard that, that cancer cannot grow in an alkaline body system. So the closer you can get to that, the more difficult you make for that to take hold in your body. And then also the other thing was, when I was giving the example about processing animal protein versus a vegetable, it's understandable that the vegetable product, plant product, is going to move through your body a lot quicker. And that's what you want to have happen. You want to eat and you want it out. You want your body to take what it needs and let it go. But when you're eating these heavy foods, it's going to stay in there for a very long time. And a lot of leaching occurs, a lot of fermentation, and it's just not, it's not healthy. You want to keep moving it out. Oh, okay, so quick brief history. So I love this. It's not the newest thing. In fact, it's the oldest thing. There was a time, sure, we've been, heating our food, but if you look at, and I forgot the timeline, but I think it's something like we've been heating our food for the last 10,000 years of the last 4 million that there's been man on the planet. So it's very small compared to the whole. And there are still a lot of cultures that do eat mostly raw, and many cultures that eat all plant-based food. And if you study these people, they don't have the illnesses that we have. They don't have the tooth decay and cancer and diabetes and all those kinds of things. So they're doing something right. And so to go back to the 1930s, digestive leukocytosis is something that I find really interesting. It is when this doctor from Switzerland, he studied when you eat cooked food, you have an elevated white blood cell count, which comes when you have infection or inflammation in the body. And they assumed that that was part of the natural digestive process. That's what your body does. It raises its white blood cell count. But when they tested raw food, it didn't happen. So I don't need to say anything more than that. It just makes sense that there's something right happening there. The Pottinger cat study, that's a great study to go online and Google that. That is a study done on 900 cats, 4 generations. They fed some of the cats raw milk and raw meat, and the other group they fed condensed milk, pasteurized milk, and cooked meat. And over the 4 generations, the raw-fed families grew healthy and normal, and then the cooked group each generation got progressively worse. And the lifespan depreciated as each generation came along. And by the 4th generation, the kittens were only living to 6 months. So, I mean, you know, even if you eat a cooked food, you know, most people aren't eating 100% cooked. They're having salads and stuff like that. So that's good. You want to start to incorporate more of that kind of stuff. But that's a great, interesting study. 2 big names that come up from the 60s, Ann Wigmore and Viktoras Kulvinskas. They started Hippocrates Institute. That's still in existence. There's one in Puerto Rico and there's one in West Palm Beach. And a lot of people go there for healing. And Viktoras is still alive. He's a little wacky if you Google him. He's a little crazy. But some of these raw food people are. David Wolf is another one. But he's fun to watch. You know, if you Google his YouTube videos, the energy, and I said this at the last talk, I've seen David Wolf speak, and it's like he's levitating off the chair, and he's just like, going to jump out into the audience. It's crazy. But Ann Wigmore, she lived into her 80s, and she was actually killed in a fire in her house in Boston. And then Fred Bishi, this is Fred Bishi right here. And the reason I put him in here is because Joe and I just went last week and heard him speak, and it was fantastic. He is a doctor of nutrition out of New York City. You can go meet with him. He's very approachable. And he has been raw, 100% raw for 45 years. He's 81 years old. He runs on the beach every morning. We saw this guy. He must have been, he was like 6 foot tall or taller, right? He looked like he was like, mid-50s. Yeah, his energy was incredible. And he boxes and he does karate, and his wife is 30 years younger than him. And it's just, she has to be to keep up with him. He is fantastic. Google him, and if you have the opportunity to see him speak, and he's a realist. He does not say everybody needs to go 100% raw. Incorporate bits and pieces and start to, actually he says, what you start with is what you leave out. Start to leave certain things out. Then the next thing is to start to put things in that are you know, of a higher grade. So, and then I also included at the back of the sheet 2 or 3 pages of other prominent figures so that you can see the history and timeline, that this isn't a new Hollywood diet, you know, that Demi Moore is doing, and which she does. I don't think 100%, but I mean, she looks pretty good. I'm sure plastic surgery has something to do with it, but anyway. This is cheaper. Okay, so the equipment. There's some equipment that's specific for this, and other stuff that you can just use your home kitchen equipment. So the dehydrator is, this is what's going to be able to get you to that temperature. Home ovens, I don't think will get there. They're going to get too hot. And the dehydrator basically just blows lukewarm air on the food. And I mean, we'll put things in there. If I want to make cookies and I really want to get them crunchy, they'll be in there for 36 hours. You just turn it on, and you know, you check it a day and a half later, and you know, then your cookies are crunchy.
That drawer opens up a few times, though.
Oh yeah. After the 36 hours is maybe half the cookies left. That's true, Joe. So the dehydrator, so the cost of a dehydrator is a couple $100, depending on what size you get. Excalibur is the one that's most recommended. There's a lot of brands out there, but this one, the temperature gauge is pretty accurate. And they have a 5-drawer and a 9-drawer, and I would definitely recommend getting the 9-drawer. I think it's only $50 more for the 9-drawer. And you'll find if you want to make, say, the kale chips, you'll end up just being able to, because they're so big, you'll only be able to put 4 sheets in there anyway, and you'll fill the whole thing. And the kale chips, you'll be lucky if they last you 2 days. I mean, they're so crazy good. So the dehydrator is something that I wouldn't recommend necessarily running out and spending the money on it right away. That's something that once you've done more food prep and you're like, okay, I'm ready to bring it to another level, then go out and get the dehydrator. You can make chips and cookies and we'll heat up soups in there, and like zucchini noodles or kelp noodles. You can bring things, so you're not eating things aren't cold. You're not eating anything out of the refrigerator. You know, it's fun. We took some friends to Grazo, and they served the soup, and she picked it up and started blowing on it. You know, it was her automatic response when she has the spoon in front of her.